All right, guys, the hype is in. D&D has come out with the Scion as an official class in D&D, and I'm all about DC20, so let's take a quick look at comparing the two and just doing a quick talk about which one's going to be better for the health of the game overall. Hey guys, I'm the Nerd Doctor, here to diagnose what's wrong with your RPG game and here to help you fix it. It's been a while since I've been on here. I have been just so busy. I've been renovating a house and it's just crazy. The first point I just want to talk about when it comes to the Scion stuff is just all the talk about this being the best class in the game for D&D. And for me, when I hear that, I'm automatically a little bit kind of annoyed because when it comes down to it, I don't want any one class to be better than the other. I mean, should one feel better than another for you to play? Sure. Everyone's going to have their preferences, but should one physically, mechanically be better than the other? And my big answer is a big fat no. I do not. I do not want any class outshining all of the rest in the game simply for existing in the game. That does not feel good. That doesn't feel right. It's not fair to all the other players because when it comes down to it, D&D is all about party balance. I mean, of course, there's plenty of games you can get away with not doing a party balance, but more often than not, people are trying to play a party balanced game, and that only exists if they all are equal at their own positions. Some are better at some things than others, but that's the whole point about bringing a party together with different expertise, is that they all complement each other in the right way. So I am actually just clickbaited. I am not here to talk about the Scion for D&D. I'm here to talk about the Scion for DC20. Though still in beta, there is a very core principle when it comes to DC20 and its classes that they live by, and that is that they are balanced, that they are even across the board in terms of power and strength. Again, they're going to be better at some things than others, but let's focus in on the Scion. So just right off the bat, when it comes to the Scion is a hybrid class in DC20. So if you don't know much about DC20, it breaks down like this. There are martial classes, spellcaster classes, and then there are hybrid classes. And basically the difference between the three is that if you're a spellcaster, you have mana. Mana is your spending resource. You can spend them on spells. If you are a martial character, your resource is stamina. You can spend them on maneuvers. But hybrid has both mana and stamina, and to a lesser degree than both. So just there's the balance right there, is they do not get as much as being a full-fledged in either one, and they can use them a little more versatilely. So let's talk about how the Scion, which is only one of the two current classes that is a hybrid class. The other one is a Spellblade, but again, we're talking about the Scion today. So let's talk about what the stamina regen feature is for the Scion. So the stamina regen feature is you regain half of your max stamina when at least one creature fails at a mental save you impose. So what's going to be the theme of some of the features of the Scion right off the bat that you can already tell is they're going to have special features that cause their target to make a mental save so that they can replenish their stamina. That's the whole purpose. So you tactically want to get them to make mental saves, replenish your stamina, and then use those for other things. So your training, let's talk about the Psionic Mind. So your training in Psionic Mind are that you have arts that have granted you the following benefits. Number one, you learn the Psi Bolt spell. Easy. 2, you can spend stamina on AP enhancements. Now, what does that mean? So in DC20, you have what are called AP enhancements as a part of spells, as a part of maneuvers, and as a part of attacks. So if, like, let's just take the basic attack, for instance. If you attack with something, you can enhance that with a power strike. You can enhance the distance, or rather your range, your reach by 1 space if it's melee, your range by 5 spaces if it's a ranged attack, or you can deal extra damage with it. You may be able to enhance it by giving yourself advantage. So instead of spending AP on those enhancements, you can instead spend SP. Now, martial characters already can do this, so not a big thing that they're getting, but it is nice in the way that they word this, because what that means is they can spend SP on AP enhancements on spells. So if your spell grants you additional damage or range, and you would normally have to increase that with AP, instead you can spend it with SP. So this is really cool, and not something that I think the Spellblade can even do, which is they can't spend SP to enhance their spells, but but the Scion can, which is really cool. All right, and then you have that when you make a physical save, you can spend 1 SP to make a mental save instead. So you're trading, physical stuff that you would have to do with mental stuff, which totally feels like a psionic person and a psionic class, because you are able to switch things out. Instead of doing things physically, you do them mentally, which is very cool. You gain the following spell enhancements, which you can use on the spell when you cast, which is Daze. So 1 AP mental save. The failure, the target becomes dazed on the next mental check it makes before you end its turn. So here's a really cool trade-off. Here's the translation here. You can enhance a spell with an AP Daze, and then that will, when they cast that spell on a target, they have to make a mental save, which could replenish their SP, which they can then use on something later. So here is exactly what I was talking about before. They have a feature in here that allows them to make their target make a mental save, which brings the second part of that psionic spell, which is the disruption. 1 AP mental save, the failure, the target loses their concentration, and that's been translated to sustain. When instead of concentration in DC20, you sustain a spell by spending 1 AP to sustain that spell to keep it going. So this would have them lose their ability to sustain that spell. And then there's the last part of this, which is the psionic. The spell doesn't require verbal or somatic components. Nice little flavor. I'm not a big verbal somatic component guy, but that's just me. So that's one of the big things. And then we have telekinesis. So you gain telekinesis, which grants you the ability to interact with things using only your mind. Your telekinesis has a range of 5 spaces. You can only interact with 1 object or creature using telekinesis at a time. So this just gives you that basic ability of, you can shove, grapple, you can use grapple maneuvers, you can interact with objects, the body block maneuver. Those are all things that you can do with that telekinesis, which is cool. The telepathy favor, you can communicate telepathically with any creature you can see within 10 spaces if it understands at least 1 language that you can respond to telepathically. Makes sense. Those are level 1 features. Level 2 features, mind sense, you can spend 1 AP and 1 MP to open your mind and detect the presence of other creatures within 10 spaces, so you're sensing the things around you. You can invade the minds on a mind that you can detect with your mind sense, using an additional 1 AP and 1 SP instead of MP this time, and read their emotions. Very cool. And that's as far as it's gone. This is when it comes to DC20. So still in early stages here. It's one of those classes that was given to us early and needs to still be upgraded and updated. And they won't do that till they quite finish the game. But you've got your first 2 level features right there, and then you have your Psi Knight and your Oracle subclasses, which both look very cool. The Oracle, they gain foresight, so they can spend 1 AP and 1 SP as a reaction to replace a number it rolled on its D20 with your omen before anything is added to the roll, which the number rolled D20 becomes your new omen. So like if you rolled, let me read it out. So you gain an omen, which is a 10. When a creature you can detect with the mind sense makes a check or save, you can spend 1 AP, 1 SP as a reaction to replace that number on its DC20 with your omen before anything is added to the roll. So if I rolled a 5, you can replace it with the 10. The number rolled on the D20 becomes your new omen. So when the mind sense ends, your omen resets to 10. But if you mix it in before then, you're just switching out numbers, which is cool. And then the Psi Knight, you've adapted your mental energies to assist your body in physical combat, so augmenting your speed, endurance, and lethality. So you gain combat training. So not just because it's a hybrid doesn't mean it can automatically use certain combat abilities. So the Psi Knight grants those combat abilities, which is usually like your ability to wear certain types of armor and your ability to use passive weapon abilities. That's really the main thing that you get, and to use attack maneuvers. Like when I attack, like I said, if you use a melee martial attack, only martial characters can spend AP to add 1 damage, to use a passive attack, and things like that. Spellcasters cannot do that. But with the Psi Knight, can. So very cool. So that is the Scion. And again, the big takeaway for this video, and I just wanted to hype up the Scion when it comes to DC20 in this moment that that the Scion's coming out in D&D, even though, you know, there was a lot of big, you know, 3.5 and other editions that had very high, you know, Scion type stuff going on back then. It's all about balance. You know, if you're making a class that is stronger or more compelling than the other classes, then you shouldn't come out with that class. If they're not all even, they should be. And that's the thing I want to highlight DC20 for. So anyone who's watching this video and interested in Scions or DC20, you're not going to regret playing this and enjoying it and enjoying what the Scion has to offer in a much more balanced, streamlined game. So thanks again for listening, guys. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And if you want easy access to the Scion and all of its functionality and making characters, be sure to check out my website, DC20forge.com. It is the #1 digital interface to run all your DC20 games and make your characters and whatnot. Go there, check it out. Again, thanks for listening, guys. Stay clever and play smarter.